Actually, I feel like you've been here for a while, but it's been a day.
Yeah,
Yeah? How are you feeling?
the same way.
Yeah?
No, I love the energy. I'm absolutely high on it. So I think yesterday, even when I was really tired.
Sorry. Yeah? Is it not working? Nope. We might need you to speak up a little bit. Sorry.
Okay, so I'm absolutely high on all the energy. I love being here. And it's great just to kind of bounce off each other. I think as an entrepreneur, it can be a very lonely journey, as we were talking about earlier. And I think even a few days ago, something happened and I just kind of, my eyes kind of welled up and I was like, wait, I don't have time to cry. Hang on, forget this. So it's nice to be in a space where you don't feel alone and, other people have similar experiences and it's just share energy. So it's quite nice.
So, Ria, it's wonderful to have you here.
Thank you.
Before we go into EcoWare and the brilliance of what you're doing, let's just talk about your family, because I feel like every time we've sat together, right, the school's kind of potentially calling or something's going on. Tell us about your family.
So I live in Delhi with my 2 golden retrievers. One's 9, one's 3 months. My 2 kids, my son is 8 and my daughter is 6. My husband, of course, and a lonely goldfish who exists. So that's all of us in a household, and we live out there, and I've been living out in Delhi now for 10 years.
Yeah. And you and your husband work together?
Yes, we do now.
Yeah.
Well, now when I say in the last 5 years.
In the last 5 years? There's actually a couple fellows here who work with their spouses.
Yes.
What have you found makes that work? When has it gotten hard? And how'd you get through it?
So I'd like to call it constructive conflict.
Yeah.
Which is something we laughed about at dinner. But honestly, I mean, even at the hardest of days, I've said to everyone who's asked me this, is that I don't think I could work with anyone who protects me, my vision, and my business, as much as my husband would.
Yeah.
And I'm hoping no one poaches him, so fingers crossed. But, it's just that. He has the same vision. We want the same thing for EcoWare, so we might not share the same path.
Yeah.
At the starting, but the end goal is the same. So
So how long were you running the business before he came on board?
So I founded this in 2009, and I think he came on board in 2014. I think. Yeah. 14, 15. I think that was the year.
So if we go way back in time now to 2009.
Yes.
Can you tell us why you started EcoWare? I mean, what was the impetus?
Bit of background, I'm a pharmacologist.
Yeah.
I've worked in oncology. My mother's had breast cancer twice, I understand the science, well, I like to think I understand at least the science behind plastics and potentially causing diseases like cancer and infertility. And I think just we're very aware of the lifestyle choices that you kind of have to make. Yeah. So when I moved to India, I was kind of really shocked at how freely people were using plastic and not really realizing the damage it was causing them. And also, having lived abroad my entire life, I was pretty shocked at the fact that we threw all our waste in one dustbin.
Yeah.
I think that's what irked me the most, is that we threw all our waste in one space. There was no waste segregation. And I think even if you did try and segregate at home, there was no kind of backward integrated system to support what you were trying to do. Yeah. We're a biomass-rich nation. It just, made sense. Let's add value to the farmers. Let's figure out what raw material we can play with. I went into the market. I figured out what sold really well in plastic and foam and what it was that people were buying, and I just went and replicated those 5 things, top 5 things to start with.
Did you have any background in material science?
Nothing.
Or
Absolutely nothing. My background, like I said, is pharmacology.
Yeah.
My experience was just launching brands, but like healthcare related, obviously. So, I've worked on Champix, which is a smoking cessation drug. We relaunched Viagra.
You relaunched Viagra?
Well, a little bit of it, but I was part of that campaign. Worked on oncology.
Some good jokes there, I'm guessing, but anyways, we won't go there.
Yeah, not on camera. I knew how to get brand to market, but nothing about India, no experience whatsoever.
Yeah.
So India as a territory, as a I didn't know if you stepped out of a house, what was on the left, what was on the right. Like I had no sense of anything. It was completely raw for me.
So what gave you permission or the courage or the audacity or the foolhardiness, I mean, to actually start something where you weren't, you were ill-equipped in so many ways? Or not equipped, I guess would be the word.
I think I was 29, so
Yeah, totally.
we didn't have kids. We were financially secure, and I just thought that, and I suppose I didn't overthink things also.
Yeah.
It was very, it just seemed right to, it was the right time to take that leap of faith, if any, basically.
Yeah.
So I didn't have too many responsibilities aside from myself and my husband, so it was like, okay, if you want to do this, let's do this now.
Yeah.
So that was it, really.
Can you tell us, you mentioned plastic, and you said we all kind of know the health ramifications of it. I don't think we actually all do. I think there's a lot of conversation around how plastic shows up in the oceans and how critical of a problem that is, but the side about carcinogens and what it's doing to our health, can you tell us a little bit from your perspective?
So there's more and more scientific evidence linking plastics to disease, right? So very simply, you put hot food in a plastic plate, the plastic melts and leaches toxins into your food, which is what you digest, basically. So when you look at a disease like cancer, there are risk factors that you can control and there are risk factors that you can't control. So you can't control your genetic makeup, you have no control of what you've done in the past, or your age, but you can control your lifestyle, whether you smoke, whether you drink, what you eat, what you eat out of. So I think there was a very clear correlation. Like people talk about healthy eating, but we'll just eat out of anything.
Yeah, totally.
And for me, that's synergistic. Like the packaging has to kind of complement what you're eating, otherwise it defeats the purpose.
Yeah.
Like I said, there is now more clinical evidence linking cellular changes and just those triggers to things such as plastics, ingesting basically bits of plastic, as well as infertility, because it mimics sort of like hormones in your endocrine system, and causes all sorts of things basically.
You just totally changed how I'm going to eat my food when I'm traveling. So tell us about EcoWare now. You said India is biomass rich, right? You said let's take some of that, let's apply it to solve this problem, but tell us what you're doing.
So we take agri-waste. So we started off with bagasse because it was just the most available. And we started EcoWare with being made from bagasse, and we still do. Predominantly our range is that. But now another form of agri-waste that we work with is what farmers are burning along Punjab and Haryana, which is north of India. So they burn a lot of paddy straw to clear farmland. And that just causes unlivable pretty much conditions for us 6 months of the year, especially if you live up north. So the latest line of product that we've kind of introducing into the market is the Play with Paddy Straw. So we're using that now and converting it into a table where incentivizing farmers not to burn their farmland, but to actually give us that raw material instead. So in essence, we use plant biomass and we convert it into a completely compostable product. Our entire business is zero waste and is completely in line with the circular economy. And we don't want to see people use single-use plastic.
So you're doing something that's so incredible. You're taking a massive waste, right? And that's wasted, right? And it's done so in a way that creates pollution. You're helping farmers increase their income by turning that into an asset. You're putting that asset into products that are now healthy and that are compostable in our backyard that can go back into the soil. Can we please give her a round of applause? But it's incredible. And I don't know if people tuning in or this room also understands how hard it is to make it backyard compostable and still have a quality that works. But what is the secret here? We've looked at so many companies who haven't been able to do that.
Come to me and I will tell you.
Yep.
No, I'm only joking. So what's the secret? I think the secret was, it started with the whole, the need, right?
Yeah.
So we don't have, like I said, waste segregation systems. It was pointless for me to create a solution that wasn't closed loop.
Totally.
So I had to
Yeah.
have a backyard composting
Yeah.
product. And there is honestly no secret. We
Yeah.
use biomass. We don't add anything to it.
Simple.
It is just simple. It's just the fact that you need more people out there to understand that there is
Yeah.
a need to do this.
Yeah.
It's not rocket science.
Yeah.
You know, you just have to want to make a change and create impact. So,
But it's still hard. Right?
yeah, absolutely.
Can you tell us a little bit? Some of us are familiar, but I mean, some of your customers, you know, the scale at which you're selling your products. Who are you working with?
So in India, we work with the railways. We work with quick service restaurant franchises like Subway, Cinnabon, local franchises like Haldiram's for whoever's familiar with India. We work with offices, institutions, so not Barclays, but
Soon to be Barclays.
yeah, JP Morgan and Goldman Sachs and all these guys. So we work with them. And we've started doing a lot of retail, so and we export now. So we, like I was
Amazing.
saying, we export as far as South America,
Yeah.
Kenya, Slovenia, Israel, the Middle East.
Yeah.
So we're starting to do a lot more of that now as well.
And what do you attribute the success to in terms of lessons that you learned along the way? And then we'll talk about what's still hard.
Oh God, I think if I had to sum it up in one word, it's just sheer resilience.
Yeah. Just sticking through it.
Just sticking through it. I mean, you know, you can talk about gender and
Yeah.
being new and being foreign and just all of that, but I think it just boils down to resilience.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think
Yeah.
it hasn't been easy. I think we've, you know, gender has been a huge thing. I've
Yeah.
sat in meetings where I haven't been able to have a conversation eye to eye, and that's not fun. But or I've kind of just, I mean, when I started this, I was 29, so it was like, oh yeah, she's 29, she doesn't
Yeah.
really know anything, you know. So it was one of those things. Or being bullied just generally because
Totally.
they thought you were new, you didn't really know much.
Yeah.
I spoke very bad Hindi when I moved to India. So the language was a barrier. And I think just setting up, I mean, when I started, no one knew what compostable, biodegradable, what it meant for a product to really do that, right?
Yeah.
So none of my stakeholders. So to disrupt a market, to convince generational traders that, you know, this is what you should be selling vis-a-vis plastic.
Yeah.
So it was resilience that pretty much got me through it all.
Yeah. Yeah. Can I ask, in those moments where you were disregarded for some reason, right? Whether it was gender or it was language or being a foreigner or being new to the space, like when that happens in that meeting and you walk out of it, how do you regroup yourself? How do you, you know, keep that level of resilience through that?
Honestly, it didn't
Yeah.
bother me that much.
Just brush it off.
Yeah. You know, because when I started as a sales rep in Pfizer, right? And
Totally.
there were plenty of doctors. I mean, anyone who's had any experience in medical sales, they'll tell you that there'll be plenty of people who shun you, who won't see you, who won't buy into what you're saying or doing. And I think just having that, you know, your 18 months of experience right at the start of my career just kind of taught me that there is nothing like a no-see customer. Like,
Yeah.
you will bring value.
Yeah.
I mean, if you believe that you're going to bring value to the table, then you will get to that table,
Yeah.
basically. So,
Such a good perspective. So, last question. This is a quick one. How many products have you sold?
how many
you think?
products have I
Yeah.
sold? What, in terms of pieces?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, God. I want to say, I think we're close to about 40 million.
40 billion.
Yeah.
That's incredible. That's 40 million pieces that could have been plastic.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
And that are back in the earth.
Yes.
And if we wanted to buy your products, can we online?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we're on Amazon. We're
Yep.
available in India. Just reach out to me and we'll help you get them.
All right, everybody raise your right hand. I promise to buy EcoWare products. The world will be a better place. Let's give Ria
Thank you.